and the Medici family, my family in the old time, during the Renaissance, were the first ever family who was able to make the big businessmen understanding that they can make more money with peace than with war.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Christina Rahm, and I'm here with an amazing Prince Lorenzo, and I'm going to let him tell you his whole history. But it's such a privilege to be on the phone with you today. And I know today's a tough day. We'll talk a little bit about that. But right now, I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself so that they can, if they don't already know about you, which most of them do, but if they don't, that they can learn more about you.
Uh, Thank you for having me with you. It's a pleasure and an honor. I'm Prince Lorenzo de Medici from the De Medici family. It's one of the oldest Italian family, and my family had four pope and two queen in their history in France and in Italy. And I'm originally from the south of Italy, in specific in a region called Calabria, who was a very old, ancient part of Italy 1,000 years ago. So my family get tracks for 1,000 years, and I'm based between beautiful Italy and USA.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I have to tell you this. So I've spent a lot of time in Italy, at the Vatican and the Science Pontification Academy, and I've learned so much. I'm hoping today we can uncover even more because I never knew till I started going over there regularly that most of the royal families would have someone that was a prince or a king, and then they would send someone to be at the Vatican or to run for pope or to try to really help with the spiritual religious aspect. Can you explain part of that to our audience? Because most people don't know about that.
Absolutely. There's many reasons why it was happening, but in the old time, only the first son of the noble and royal family was getting all the heir, all the money from the father. So when the father was passing, only the first son was getting the whole wealth. And so, in general, the second brother, third brother, normally, as education, they were all in the military or they were in the church. And so they were doing career in the church because mostly all of the private wealthy family, they had their own church in their town. The church was kind of, in the old time, was kind of the center of it was almost like a municipality for a town. It was the center of the attention of the whole community. And so bigger the community, wealthier the community, bigger the church, and wealthier the church will be. So somehow, after a lot of the important family of Italy, and not only Italy, of whole Europe, at some point they had someone of their family who decided to get to make a career in the Vatican and then end up to become a pope. And it's a long process, but they had their family supporting their time, their study, and their soul energy to get to the point of taking care of what is the future of the religion. And it's an important role that you need at the time diplomacy, you need at the time to speak the languages. Many popes speaks 20, 23 languages, and so they're very smart, intelligent people. Not only are people who use their heart and the words of Jesus, but there are people who really have a superior brain to get to that point.
I love this. I was actually at the Pope's private quarters. Gabriel and Dustin, I think, took me over there to the areas where a lot of the popes had lived, and it was fascinating to me. And then to hear the stories, I have half my family. Part of my family's Catholic, part of my family isn't, but I went back home and told my family, and they didn't know. So this is such an important part of history that people need to understand because it holds Europe and all these countries together because the Vatican is where all of these people really were leading, not just in their own country, but leading together, through the church. And I have people ask me all the time, I had people say there's good, there's bad people at the Vatican or in the Catholic Church. And here's what I always say, there's good and bad people everywhere, but this is our oldest, this is our foundation really as a world where you had all the religions coming together really under Jesus and Mother Mary and the Catholic Church. And I respect that a great deal. Today's a sad day. I know you probably knew the Pope a lot better than I did. It's a very sad day to have this death for the Vatican as well as the rest of the world. And we are in mourning. And I know you're there. I'd love to hear you say something about how everything's going at the Vatican.
It was unexpected. It was unexpected because people like me that lives most of the year in Rome and have a relationship, we were following the health situation of Pope Francis for the every day. We had people inside of the hospital and everything, and so finally we had a feeling that he could feel better. And when we saw him yesterday, that was Easter, we were so happy that he could able to be there. And he was a great man, was a great visionary. It was the first time that um, someone that was a Jesuit became a pope, and he wanted yesterday to give a message, to have the strength to go there for the last time. So he was like a superman, superheroes to get the energy for all of us to make us spend a safe, beautiful Easter. And in the old time, this week, Jesus have risen in 7 days, and mostly Monday today. So somehow he have a reason as well today. So it's a very important day for us as a Catholic. And he was a great man. He was an innovator. Just to give you an idea, he was the one who supported the fact that the divorced people could get respected and mean the same to get when they get on Sunday to the church. He was trying to opening to many different things, including having women pastor in the Catholic Church. So he was putting at least discussion inside of the church, and that's a tough things when we have 1,000 years or 2,000 years of tradition and not innovation. And so he was an innovator. And when you're an innovator, there's always some people who hates you, some people who likes you. And but he was always doing it for the poor people. He was always there to just discuss the opportunities for everyone. So it's a sad day for one point of view. He was 88 years old. He made an amazing job, and so we all thanks him. And every pope have their own characteristic. I was very close to John Paul II, as my mother is Polish. That's why I'm blonde, an Italian blonde. And so John Paul II was a great man, an unforgettable soul, somebody who changed the way Europe, the East Europe relationship open up and break the wall of Germany. And so since him, it was difficult to find another pope that has the same love, and people love this pope as much as John Paul II. And but I just think that it's important that his last words were for peace, and I believe in peace so much, and so I think that there's a way that we should really. I think that we all know that war is business, and the Medici family, my family in the old time during the Renaissance, were the first ever family who was able to make the big businessmen understanding that they can make more money with peace than with war. So we had in the old time in the Renaissance 20 years of peace between all the different players during the Renaissance, because the Medici told them, look, there is tourism, there is infrastructure, there is furniture, there's many other things that you can do still business. And so sometimes I'm hoping that someone will today, there's 53 war around the world in this moment, and it's so sad. And so Pope Francis yesterday was giving his last words for hoping that there will be peace. And so that's a great as a great achievement and a great heritage from Pope Francis for the future.
Well, I really appreciate having a phone call and a Zoom and a podcast on this day, because I know that your family is pivotal to what's happened historically. And I say this constantly, we all leave a legacy, right? And it can either be good or bad. There's not a legacy that's perfect, because you're, like you said, if you're an innovator, you're going to get criticized by those people that don't want to change, and vice versa. Innovators sometimes don't want traditionalists, but I do feel like the Pope gave us a message of peace. I really do. I felt like he continuously tried, even with his endeavors with people that were divorced or women. I feel like he was always trying to move towards peace, but it's hard to change thousands of years of a tradition, which I understood both sides of that, and have had the opportunity to meet most of the people that will either that are basically slated to be the next pope through a lot of prayer, and a lot of you all working together. So I love this message that you're telling, because so many times in a religion or in a government, and let's be honest, the Vatican's both. Like, they are pivotal to this whole world. They are such an instrumental piece. And I pray for the Vatican all the time, even when you hear that they're stepping into, Russia, Ukraine, trying to help, or whether it's Israel or whether it's Pakistan. They're trying with every country, right? Because the goal is peace. When I go to the Vatican, I meet Buddhists, I meet people that are Hindu, I meet people of all different religions, as the Catholic Church is trying to bring those people together. So your message, I think, is so important, because one of the things across the world, and if you're Catholic and you're in Rome and Italy, you may not know this, but we have to educate people so they understand the importance of the Vatican, the importance of that position. Because if you think about it, whoever steps into the position of Pope, just like when your family was involved, and they still are involved, in their own way, and in all of these pieces, it's so important to the legacy of our future. And I do hope that whatever Pope is selected, they carry on this message of peace. So what is your thoughts on that? Do you feel like this will
I
be
think I think that I am a very um, Catholic, and I believe that God give us the way. And when I lost my father of cancer, and he was young, and I when I lost my father, I had my daughter, who was maybe 1 year and a half. So somehow, the balance of life. You lose a fantastic father and you get a fantastic daughter. So I think that now, maybe, and I'm trying to be always positive as an Italian. We're always today, of course, is a very sad day. In Italy now, they just told at 8 p.m. Italian time that officially the Pope is dead, and it's starting a process of that 15 days. So they will have now, the funeral will be Saturday probably, and then there will be 9 days of prayer for the Pope, and then they will start to get in the room for nominating the new Pope. But what I was thinking today, and no news are talking about that, is that somehow maybe it's the balance. Maybe there will come another pope that will be younger as energy, because he
yeah,
was 88 years old, and of course he was stronger inside, but physically he didn't have the strength. He was a Superman for an 88-year-old. So I hope that the next pope will have that energy, maybe to physically maybe go to Ukraine or maybe
yeah,
to Gaza, and step it there and say, you know what, I'm here now. Try to bomb me or try to do something. Maybe God have someone else who will come, will be stronger and younger, and maybe will point, and maybe thanks to him we will have stopped to the big war. I don't know, but this is I always think positive, and this is what my religion, what my family had four pope in their life, and they were innovator in many things, and they try to make peace between some of them fight with the British. And so, like everything, each pope, each person has their own personality, their own vision. And I'm an artist myself. I love art, And I think art can be a vehicle for talking. And Pope Francis was a Jesuit. Jesuits are considered in the Catholic religion the artist of the church. So they love art exhibition. They love to talk with the art. They love music and all those things. And so it was the first time that we had a pope that was Jesuit. And so, but I am very positive in the sense that I think that God knows what will happen soon, and whoever will come may be the right person in the right time for this difficult moment where we are in this world now.
Absolutely. Well, you're known for being someone that's an innovator. You're known for helping evolve in the world and human rights. I don't need to tell you what people think about you, but I'm just telling you when I look into your life and how you culturally have impacted things, how you have worked and really tried to help philanthropic events, civil rights, human rights, right? And I say this all the time because I worked in the pharmaceutical biotech industry for years. I'm not against, I'm not against one industry or another. I'm for humans. I always say that I'm for human rights and for God guiding us in that. And I feel like you're a testimony to that because your family's been involved in banking. You've been involved in a lot of cultural events. You've been involved in politics because of the church and everything else. And you guys have maintained this image of being a family that is really trying to help the world, like I said, evolve. And right now, I feel like we are at a crucial time to evolve because we've had so many things happen. We had the pandemic. Now we have the economic crises. We have the war. So what is your advice or what would you tell people we need to do as societies to really get past this hard time in life? Because we've got the Pope, we have our presidents, our new Pope that will come into the church. We have the leaders in the political arena and throughout the world. I do a lot. I work in 92 countries, so I'm all over. I'd love to hear what you think we need to do as a society and as people, and then where you think we're headed so that we can really evolve even better.
A beautiful question. So what I think it's always I am always going back to my family. My family have give us a direction for 1,000 years, and their motto, who is in my family crest, is in the tapestry of my house, and it's reminding me how to behave in life. And it's called are the three virtues. The three virtues are represented by three different rings together, and these three virtues are hope, love, and charity, or hope, faith, and charity. And this is a pillar. So because we need the hope for the future, and if you don't give hope to the people, people will kill themselves or people will do bad things. So it's important to give to the future generation, to the people today, a hope of a better future. And then for sure, faith or love, they have to have faith, they have to have love, because it's very important to believe, independent of which religion they have, it's very important to have a guidance, somebody you can count on and confront yourself, like a spiritual guiding person who doesn't matter, doesn't need to be Catholic, can be anything, but you have to have your own faith. And then charity means giving back. I think that the world, I use the word sometimes, people who don't know what is charity, I use the word humanity, umanità in Italiano, because sometimes happen to me that many people don't know what is charity. What is charity? Like my daughter sometimes, and I use when I speak to her, charity. Papa, what is charity? And it's important to give back. My family have always put this three pillar and give the back to the communities, and I think that this kind of three pillars should be in the political people who are representing us. It doesn't matter where, but they should have this inside of their brain, inside of their heart, inside of their soul, inside of the program. And anyone who is in charge of anyone else should have this. So I think my suggestion is it's somehow to find the way to give hope, to give love and faith, and to give back to people who have less.
I love that. I absolutely love that. through my interactions in Italy, I've been able to see all the amazing things that people do. And I will say this, I'm never in Italy without seeing charity, without seeing people give back. And I think that's because it is a pivotal point in the world for this, for humanity. And again, I know everyone's not perfect, but it for me, it's almost a magical place where people are trying to do their best and trying to really help the world and help people. One of the things that's happened through my experience with the Catholic Church, which I want so badly to document, and I don't know how to document this, but there's the different there's the different families, right? And they knight different people in the families. So through the Catholic Church and the Secretary of State and Gabriel and a bunch of people involved in all of this, at the Vatican, I was knighted with Portugal, with the family of Portugal and North Macedonia, and the Red Cross was there because, the Vatican draws all these amazing people, but some of the families, and yours is one of them, are not recognized as much publicly because of how old they've been involved and how much they've done. And for me, those are your most important families, right? Because they go back thousands of years and they've contributed to our world. But when you go into mainstream in the United States, when you're in mainstream, people don't even understand that. And that's why I started with the explaining, and I'm so glad you said it perfectly about how the families put someone in the church. And that's really the community center, that church too, in those towns, right? Or in those countries they used to be. And then they would have the royal family. Why is it that the mainstream world does not understand that? Is it because it's more of a family tradition and a European tradition or Vatican tradition? Because it is real. I'm at the Vatican and experience all these things, but it seems like the rest of the world isn't exposed to it. And I don't know if that's intentional or not.
I think that personally, the way we grew up in Europe is that um, I'll give you an example. If we do a charity donation in Italy, we have no tax benefit.
Right.
So when you donate money, I give you an example, and you don't have any tax benefit, I believe that's real donation. When you
Yes.
donate money and you have a tax benefit, it's a donation with a benefit. Yeah,
I
so
love
so you
that.
know
That's so
so
true.
starting from this point, we all are very regional. We're all very provincial in Europe, and so all of us we help our small community where we're based, where we have our business, where the family lives. So we support our church, we support our communities. We have a shelters, we have an orphanage, and so. But we are somehow we like to do it without shouting around and having our name on what we're doing. Um, because first, somehow, um, we don't want the envy of the other people to get envy against us. So we're doing a lot of things, but we're trying to do it in a secret way or in a silent way, and we just want God to see at some point. I give you an example. My father met an artist who was a very famous Hungarian artist, and he was painting many different churches. And there's um, an old rules that if you are an artist and you paint 20 full church in one lifetime, you can be candidate to become a saint.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yes, and so this artist maybe painted 18 church in his life. Maybe he was in mid 70s. So he came to my father and said, "You know what? Do you want to finance one church for me, the 19th church, so I can maybe get signed saint?" So my father have the village in the south of Italy where he was born, and he decided to finance and support this artist to make this church that it's used by the community is very small, maybe 700 people only in this town. But he paid for everything, for the church, the illumination, the artist who lived there for 2 years, and everything. And he never wanted his name anywhere, and he didn't request or never publicly said anything. And so then he died. And one day I went to see this church, and I went there and I sit there. It's a beautiful church in a town called Martirano, Martino, in South Africa. And so I look, there is two nuns, and they ask me who I am, and I tell them who I am, who was my father, and they say, look up. And I look up, and there is the Last Supper. The artists have paint my father on the left side of Jesus to remember. So forever, my father will be in the painting of the Last Supper in this church because the artist wanted to thank my father for what he's done. Now, my father could have bought two Ferrari or a Lamborghinis, few Lamborghinis. Instead, he has just finance in
Right.
a little village. So this is how the European noble families are doing the things. It's just something that comes from their heart, and this is the whole things and the whole scale up. And so in the church, we are doing stuff, but we're trying to do it without the advertising that maybe an American maybe will want or will have, or is just part of the culture of marketing. We do the opposite of marketing in this case.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that just makes me so happy because I feel like in a world and time where everything's transactional or it has to be, you have to brag about it. It's the most sacred things you don't brag about. You know, the most sacred things in life, you don't say, I did this. People just need to know. I love that you just told that story. Thank you for
And
telling that.
I want to add something else that is very important. My Italian fellow are the number one donating of time in charity in the world. Now, if there is one thing that we have that it's passing is time. You know, money you can have and lots. So Italians are donating more time for charity than any other people in the world. That's just an example of how genuine and generous in their mind. Now, Italians are not rich as a poor countries because we have very high taxation, but they donate what is more important than everything, which is time for helping the church, time for helping the people who have the needy, time to helping the people. So if there is always, I always have some girlfriend, hot girlfriend, beautiful girlfriend, Italian, that say, there is anything I can do to help kill children or going into the orphanage. It's so beautiful. Instead of saying, maybe instead of saying, I want to go and buy shopping or something, and I say, wow, this country is really still made of beautiful soul people that they like to donate their time to need less and so need more. And so this is why maybe Italy is so wonderful, and why everybody who comes to Italy find that things, and maybe that's why the Pope choose to be in Rome. The Pope can choose to go wherever they
Yeah.
want in the world,
Oh, yeah.
and so I think that maybe it's just the way we grew up, the way, yesterday was Easter, and I went to make bread with an old ladies that was so nice to teach me how to do the bread with other kids. And today I went with people in the countryside that they were very humble people to spend the whole day barbecues and spending day together of a community. And so in Italy, it doesn't matter which car you have. It doesn't matter which watch you have. It doesn't matter which how much money you have. It matter if you're a good boy or not. And I think that this is a fantastic thing that I wish my daughter lives in USA. I wish she can spend more time in Italy because you grew up more sincere, maybe more naive, but it's maybe important and it's beautiful and so maybe that's why Italy is unique. Yeah.
It is. People ask me all the time because I've traveled so much, which country's my favorite, and I always say I love Italy. I love Greece too, but Italy is just a very magical place. There's other countries where I feel like it's like India. You're rich in culture. I say it's beautiful chaos, but Italy is truly somewhere where I go. I'm completely relaxed. So I'm looking for a place there because you guys have different real estate options that are not so expensive and also beautiful. And I just want to tell you, it's an amazing culture. And I know your family has helped, build that. You are part of those building blocks that have made it so magical and so romantic and so beautiful. And I do think the heart of the Italian people, it's just giving and loving and showing that beauty through art and music and just your hearts. And I want to thank you for being on the podcast today. And I want to tell you, we're going to share with the world how beautiful you and your family are. And I want to tell
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you. I mean, thank you honestly for the traditions you guys have built that you can't pay someone to build, right? You guys have just done it with your heart. So thank you so very much.